not wait before taking it. Do not wait to take it. So, because again, it's spoke out the idea that in sakana ki sakana, so asher hine korega shemischadesh yuchal ischadesh ezu ikov l'maisah. It's a very profound statement. Every moment you wait in the fulfillment or in the actualization or in taking an opportunity is another moment in which some other obstacle has the ability to materialize. We don't, again, the truth is what we need Ramchal to tell us this. We all know this from life experience. The longer you wait to do something, the more things that come in the way of the performance of that very thing. Therefore, an opportunity presents itself, grab it, take it. He goes on, we're on page Ayin Hey. V'amru li olam yaktim adam l'dvar mitzvah, shebeschar layla echad shekdima b'chir l'tzira, zochsa v'kadma arba'a doros b'Yisrael malchus. So this is actually really quite a fascinating Gemara. So the Gemara brings as a raya for Zrizos, the daughters of Lot. So remember again, it's a story that we're familiar with, right? Lot's daughters thinking that the world has been destroyed, get their father drunk in order to become pregnant from him. Now again, it is clear that Chazal understand their actions to be l'shem shamayim, that their actions were, the intentions were pure, to repopulate, to recreate, or to repopulate humanity. So the Gemara says in the merit that the older sister took initiative first. Literally again, her ancestors came to the monarchy of Israel 4 generations earlier. Now, of course, the older daughter's descendant was Rus. The younger daughter's descendant was a woman by the name of Naamah Ha'amonis, who becomes the wife of Shlomo, one of the wives of Shlomo HaMelech. So Rus comes to quote-unquote Klal Yisrael. Rus gets involved in the monarchy 4 generations earlier than her younger sister's descendant. What does the Gemara credit that to? To the Zrizos of the older sister. He goes on, Va'amru Zrizim makdimin lemitzvos. And as Chazal tell us, those who are Zaris, those who have Zrizos, ultimately again makdimin lemitzvos. They are makdim. They push themselves to perform mitzvahs. Amru li olam yarutz adam lidvar mitzvah afilu b'Shabbos. Interesting halacha. You are obligated. A person should always run to do a mitzvah, even on Shabbos. What does it mean, even on Shabbos? Ideally, we don't run on Shabbos. Why? Because the act of running in and of itself is like an uvda d'chol. It's a weekday activity. So the Gemara says there's an exception to this. You can run to shul. I don't mean because you're late. I mean, you could run to shul. Why? Because for a dvar mitzvah, you can run. For a dvar mitzvah, you could run. Why is that? Because at the end of the day, running in and of itself is an expression that there's an opportunity to be had, there's an opportunity to be seized, there's an opportunity to be taken advantage of, and I cannot wait. That type of mindset, as expressed by the behavior of running, is an indispensable part of the spiritual persona of the Jew. He goes on, Shamru, Huyina Ageno Amos Bezrizus, Ki'ilein Ulemta Kimadat Arm Besach Alemos Tefevos. Ki Azrizus, Himidas Shlemus Godel. Says Ramchal, Zrizos is an incredibly important midah. Now, actually, the lashon is Kimidas Shlemus Godel. Zrizos is a midah that is necessary for one's personal completion, for your shlemus. Asher tivo shel adam mona mimena ata. But understand that it is a midah that goes against the very grain of your nature. So again, we spoke about this again a couple of weeks ago when we started Zrizos, which is the idea that we are matter, right? We are matter. We are made up of matter is naturally at rest until acted upon. The concept of Zrizos says, get up, move yourself, and don't just move yourself, but move yourself quickly. Ramchal is just important to understand. It goes against my nature. My nature is atzlos. See, I believe we spoke about this a little while ago. We often think of atzlos, right? We translate it as laziness, as a negative midah. It is. I want to go on record, right? It's not good, but we think that it's a bad habit you pick up. What Ramchal teaches us is that atzlos is not something you pick up. Atzlos is what? It's something you have. It's your nature, right? It's a person's nature to be utzel, right? Laziness, again, I have to find a better word, because laziness by definition has like a connotation of a person having a bad midah. Atzlus really means at the end of the day, I prefer not to move. Not right, non-committal, right? Not right. I prefer not to move. I just prefer not to move. That's not because I'm bad. It's not because I don't care. It's because on a certain level, I'm like a rock, right? Just like the rock sits there until someone or something kicks it. I'm also made up of matter. And therefore, by definition, I'm kind of going to sit in this chair until there's a reason for me to get up, or until something acts upon me to get up. So therefore, the Ramchal says, Zrizus, on one hand, is one of the most important midos that are necessary for my personal shlemus, my personal completion. And we're going to discuss this more. You cannot be a complete person without the midah of Zrizus, for a simple reason. You can't be complete. You can't be complete. You won't be complete, because without the midah of Zrizus, you don't end up taking advantage of all of your incredible life opportunities. So you won't be complete. Yet at the same time, Asher Tivo Shala Adam Mono Mimanata. Yet at the same time, what? At the same time, my very nature goes against this midah. Misha miskaber v'tofis ba kol ma sheyuchal hine la'asid lavo yiskala be'emes asher abori yisbarach yitna lo scharo chilif ma sheishtadel acharei bizman avodasa. And then the Ramchal kind of ends off this section by saying, a person who finds the strength to be able to overcome his natural predispositions towards atzlos, and is able to overcome his natural predispositions to just remaining in place and not moving, just know, bless you, just know that such a person will collect incredible schar, not just in this world, but in the world to come also. We'll say, now what does this mean? Because if you think about it, what is the greatest accomplishment of a person? The ability to transcend one's nature. Right? The moment that you do something keneged your own teva, you do something, you swim against the current of your own nature, an accomplishment gedola mizo, right? Meaning there's nothing greater than that. And therefore says the Ramchal, just know that a person who is able to overcome the inner atzlos and be able to come zariz, not only does life become more fulfilling, but at the end of the day, the schar that's waiting for such a person from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is immeasurable and unimaginable. I will have to stop over here for today. We'll pick up in Mirza Hashem. This was all pre-actional zrizus. In Mirza Hashem tomorrow we will speak about actional zrizus. Shkoyach. All right, we'll say good morning. Let's begin. A lot to do today, Baruch Hashem. Today's daf is daf vav. We are picking up on Hey Amud Beis, and we are picking up a lot to do today. Tani Chada. It is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 lines off from the bottom. Hey Amud Beis. We'll say our shir this morning is dedicated. The shirim this month are dedicated by Yonah and Shashi Ehrenfeld in memory of Yonah's grandfather Joseph Ehrenfeld, Yosef and Shmuel Zichron Levracha. We hope that on the merit of our Talmud Torah the Neshama will have an aliyah and the family a nechama. And I say with that, let's begin. Tani Chadus. Remember again, we're speaking about the use of the Shemen HaMishcha. So Tani Chadus, B'tchila Matzik Shemen Al Rosho, V'achar Kach Nosin Lo Shemen Bein Riseinav. So the Gemara says that. I'm sorry, I should start. It's really Tan Rabbanan. Moshkenes Hamalachim Kimin. When anointing a king, we take the Shemen HaMishcha, we do it around the head of the king like a crown. Ves HaKohanim Kimin Ki. Rav Nashia Kimin Ki Yavani. And Rav Nashia says like an X. Tani Chada. So we'll say we have two different opinions here. B'tchila Motzik Shemen Aroshav Achar Kach Nosin Lo Shemen Ben Riseinav. So we'll say first opinion says that when anointing the Kohen Gadol, the first thing you do is you pour the Shemen HaMishcha on his head, and afterwards you put it between his eyelids. So putting it between his eyelids represents this, smearing it almost like across the bottom of the forehead between the eyes. V'tani Achrisi, and another Tana says, B'tchila nosin lo shem ben riseina, v'achar kach matzich lo shem ben arosho. Second opinion says, no, first you smear it between the eyelids, then you pour it on the head. So which one is it? Tanaihi, suppose it's machlokes tanoim, as to what is the proper order for the anointing of the Kohen Gadol. The fundamental machlokes over here is, what is a more important form of anointing? Is it Mashicha, which again represents the pouring of the smearing of the oil between the eyelids, that's Mashicha, or is it the pouring of the oil over the head? My time demand yitzika adifa. What's the reason who says that the pouring is more important? Shne'emar vayitzok mishemen hamishcha al rosh Aaron. Because both the pasuk kind of says quite explicitly that Moshe Rabbeinu poured the anointing oil over the head of Aaron. Umandar Mashiach Adifa, and the opinion that says that Mashiach anointing with oil is more important. Kasavar Shekenis Rabel Eitzel Klisharis, because they both say that is how all of the service utensils were inaugurated, not through pouring of oil, but rather through the smearing of the oil. But 1 second, the pasuk itself says that the yitzika, the pouring, is done first, and then the smearing of the oil afterwards. Hachikama, this is what it means to say, Ma tam vayitzok mishum vayimshach osov v'kadsha. The way to read the pasuk according to the Man Damar is, why is it that you were able to pour the oil on the head of the Kohen Gadol? Only because the Kohen was first anointed, right, with the oil between his eyelids. Good. So we'll say fundamental machlokes, ultimately again as to how the Kohen Gadol was anointed. Interestingly enough, there does not seem to be any dispute about the king. So that it appears that the Shemen HaMishcha went around his head. But in the Kohen Gadol, it appears that we have three different possibilities. Either the key, the X, smearing between the eyelids, pouring oil over the head, or some combination of the pouring and the smearing. Good. Tana Rabbanan. Both says beautiful Gemara. Kishemen HaTov HaYored. So the Gemara over here quotes the pasuk from the pasuk in its entirety is Tehillim. Kishemen hatov arosh al arosh, like the good oil on the head. Yored al hazakan, it pours down on the beard. Zikan Aaron, the beard of Aaron. So David HaMelech creates this incredible imagery of the Shemen HaMishcha being poured onto the head of Aaron and pouring down into his beard. So the Gemara has it so beautiful. Kimin shtei tipin margolios hayu teluyos la'Aaron bezikno. But say so. This is even after Aaron was anointed, there were always like two droplets of Shemen HaMishcha which hung on the bottom of Aaron's beard. Amrav Kana, Tana Kishum Sapra Olos Yoshos Bikari Zikanos. So beautiful. When he would speak, the droplets apparently would like move up, nestle themselves by the roots of his beard. Va'al davar zeh haya Moshe Rabbeinu doeg. They will say, so again, Moshe Rabbeinu was very concerned about this. What was he concerned about? Shema chas v'shalom ma'alti. What he was concerned about was, look, maybe I committed mi'ilah with the Shemen HaMishcha. How did I commit mi'ilah with the Shemen HaMishcha? I used too much. If the droplets are sitting there, now obviously I'll say this is pretty miraculous, right? The droplets are always sitting there, and when Aaron talks, the droplets move up. So Moshe Rabbeinu thought, maybe I used too much Shemen HaMishcha. Too much Shemen HaMishcha is mi'ilah. Yatas abaska va'amra ketal chermon sheyored al harei Tzion. That ultimately, again, the droplets on the beard of Aaron are like the dew on the Hermon mountain. Mat tal in bo me'ilah, just like there's no me'ilah with tal. Av shemen shor al zakan Aaron in bo me'ilah. So too, again, the oil that comes on the beard of Aaron, there is no me'ilah either. Va'adayin Aaron hayadoig shamo shalom alvani ma'alti. But Aaron was concerned. Maybe I'm committing me'ilah that the Shemen HaMishcha is sitting in my beard. Yotzes Abbas Kol va'amralo hine ma'tovu ma'noim sheves achim gam yachad ma'moshe lo ma'al af ata lo ma'alta. It was such a magnificently beautiful Gemara. Magnificently beautiful Gemara. So I said, there's so much to say on this. Why does Aaron have this miracle that the beads of the Shemen HaMishcha are sitting in his beard? So let's remember again, as we mentioned yesterday, the anointing with Shemen HaMishcha represents the embracing of a destiny, being anointed for something incredible. You're anointed when you are first inaugurated. The notion of the Shemen HaMishcha sitting in the beard of Aaron represents the idea that he always maintained that freshness and newness in his avodas Hashem, the same way in which he was initially inaugurated. There's more to say, but we'll leave it for a different time. Tan Rabbanon. We only go ahead and anoint kings by a spring. Kadesh malchusan shneimar v'yar melech al benayo v'arartem oso el gichon umashach oso sham. We'll say so. Quite a beautiful Gemara. So therefore, we only anoint kings by a wellspring, and it's symbolic. It's symbolic. Just like the wellspring, just like the spring flows, so too the monarchy should continue in flow. So we'll say, to which we come to a Gemara which is incredible in Yonei Diyoma. Amrava. But so let's say a person wants to know if he's going to live out the year or not. So what should he do? Take a candle during the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Take a candle during Aseret Yemei Tshuva. Put it in a home where the wind doesn't blow, because obviously if the wind blows, the candle is going to go out. What? If the candle remains, so bring it in, put it in a home where there's not like a strong crosswind. If the candle remains lit, Neida demasik shasya. He knows that he will live out the year. Similarly, Uman debay navid iska, ubay deneida imatzlich iske ilo. Well, say I'm about to engage in a business deal, and I want to know am I going to be successful in the business deal or not. Nirbit, this is like insider trading over here. Nirbit tarnagola, right? Get yourself a rooster, get yourself a chicken. Ish shabin v'shabir, neida dematzlach. If the chicken gets fat, chicken fattens up, that is a good siman that you're going to be successful. Hayman debay benefik ba'archa, ubay dnei hadula besa. But let's say a person is going on a trip, and they want to know are they going to return home safely. Neil make him a besa debasa. They should go to a home that is a bit darkened. Ichazi tapavav, ichazi beva lebava debava neida da asi lebesa. Ultimately, again, if he sees the shadow of his shadow, in other words, what that means is when you have a shadow often projects a secondary shadow. If you see your secondary shadow, neida da asi lebesa, that indicates that you're going to come home safely. For Lav Milsa, the Gemara says, now I will say, this is actually interesting. The Gemara says, Lav Milsa means, don't do this. There's a machlokes as to, does don't do this just apply to the shadow test, or does don't do this apply to all of this other stuff? Machlokes, how you show them how to read the Gemara. Because maybe something will happen, the candle will go out, the chicken will nebachta, you're not going to see the shadow of your shadow, and you're going to feel bad. You're going to feel bad. And I will say, what does that mean? What does it mean you're going to feel bad and your mazel is going to be compromised? I will say, this is an incredible thing. In general, Chazal always understood that the way you feel about yourself and the way you feel about your life very much plays out in the events that occur around you. People who are doomsday prophets, right, often find themselves in the midst of doomsday scenarios, right? We become almost like we live lives of self-fulfilling prophecies. So ultimately, the Gemara says that if any of these omens don't go right, you run the risk of ultimately, again, kind of becoming a doomsday prophet, and that's going to play out in your life. Rabbi, I will say now, why is this important for us? There's much more to say about these omens on a variety of different levels. On the most basic level, there seems to be a direct violation of Lo Senachashun. We don't engage in omens, right? We dafka do not do this. So there's what to say. I'm thinking maybe over maybe Monday or Sunday or Monday of next week, and there's a little bit more time, Mir Hashem will focus on some of these sugyas, because as you're going to see, look what it leads into. Amr Abaye says, well now, hashta da amrit simna milsa. Now that you just told me that omens are significant, which is what the Gemara just said, a person should try to eat the following foods on Rosh Hashanah. Which foods? Kra, gourds, rubya, fenugreek, karsi, leeks, silka, beets, tamri dates. I will say, why should a person eat these foods? So Rashi points out over here. Rashi says, "Vahani ika de gadli maher v'ika de maski." So this is actually very interesting. In the Gemara's first concept of what we call simna milsa, right? If you open up the machzer, and you open up the section after Kiddush, you're going to see a section that's called simna milsa. Right? That's taken from these words in the Gemara. And the English translation of that is significant omens. So the Gemara says, now that show me that omens are significant, we should do omens on Rosh Hashanah. Right? And therefore, again, the Gemara says, eat these foods. What's unique about these foods? So what's unique about these foods ultimately is, Rashi says, either one of two qualities. Either they grow quickly or they're sweet. Either way, what they represent is a sense of vitality. Therefore, again, on Rosh Hashanah, you should eat foods that represent some sense of vitality. Again, when we have more time, whenever we do our shir on this, either Sunday or Monday, we'll discuss, of course, missing from this list is apples, right? Missing from this list is the paradigmatic simna milsa of an apple and honey. So we'll discuss why that is. That's obviously because the apple does not come on the scene until much later. So we'll discuss all of that. But again, just understand that the notion of simna milsa, which on Rosh Hashanah, really plays a very significant role, both ways. The same way that the Shulchan Aruch quotes the minhag that we don't eat egozim on Rosh Hashanah, right? We don't eat nuts on Rosh Hashanah. Why? That's negative simna milsa, right? The gematria, chet, everything like. All comes from this Gemara. Incredible. So the Gemara goes like that. So Rabbi Mishashi said to his sons, this is incredible. When you go and learn before your Rebbe, review the information before the shir. And then go to learn with your Rebbe. So I say, so this is actually incredible. What was he telling his kids? Come to shir prepared. Come to shir prepared, because if you come to shir prepared, first of all, you'll learn more. Second of all, you'll make sure that if you do end up asking questions, the questions are good. Obviously, every question is wonderful, right? Every question is fantastic, except the ones that aren't, right? And so he says over here, come to shir prepared, and make sure you learn the sugya beforehand. When you're learning from your Rebbe, look at your Rebbe's lips. Study his lips. So it's really quite beautiful. So apparently Mishashia felt that the notion of seeing your Rebbe didn't just seeing your Rebbe's face, it was seeing the lips move as they deliver the words of Torah. And when you are reviewing your learning, grosu al maya. This is beautiful. Review your learning by running water. The same way that the water flows, the learning should flow for you as well. Which I both say, the truth is, we know that when you're in nature, so the tranquility of nature is often exceptionally helpful for one's learning in general. So learn by the water, beautiful. Better to live in the garbage dumps of Masa Machasya and not in the palaces of Pumpadisa. Now Rashi understands that that's because even though Pumpadisa, by the way, was a major town, right, with a major yeshiva, Rashi points out over here that there were a lot of thieves in Pumpadisa. So because there were a lot of thieves there, better to live in a place of honesty. Tav gildana sarya lemechol mikuscho derami kipi. Better to eat a gildana fish that is about to spoil than kusach that is so good that it could break rocks. Apparently, good kusach, right? Good kusach could break through rocks. I don't know what it does to your kishkas, but it could break through rocks. So apparently what he's saying is better to have the gildana fish that is about to spoil than the best type of kusach. Now Rashi understands this, that literally, again, kusach, as good as it might taste, has terrible effects on heart disease and eyesight. So Rashi understands over here that Lamaisa, again, this was like a health issue. Others understand that what Rabbi Mishash was telling to his children was what? Don't get used to luxuries. Don't become one of those people who requires luxuries to live. Because once you acquire luxuries, once they become an indispensable part of your appetite, life is more difficult. Better to get by. Better to be the kind of person who's able to make it by on almost spoiled fish. Here's the good news. You can always find almost spoiled fish. You can't always find the best kind of kusach. Incredible lesson. Gemara goes weiter. Vatispalo Chana v'tomer alatz libi b'Hashem Rama Karni. Supposed to say Chana davens. This is when Chana's davening in Shiloh for her son. So what does she say? She says alatz libi b'Hashem. Actually, I'm sorry. This is after. So already over here, she's been given the son. So the pasuk says, "Alatz libi b'Hashem." Literally, again, my heart rejoices in Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Rama Karni. Rama Karni means my horn has been exalted. Rama Karni v'lo Rama Pachi. My horn and not my jug. David and Shlomo shenimshach beker nimshachu machuson. David and Shlomo, who were anointed from Shemen HaMishcha that was kept in a horn, their monarchy endured. Shal v'Yehu shenimshachu min hapach lo nimshachu machuson. So Shal and Yehu, who were anointed from a jug, their malchus, their monarchy did not endure. Okay, so the Gemara goes weiter. Hamafatim esakatora. So we'll say again, one who goes ahead. We'll say always a good idea, by the way, for these kind of Gemaras. You fold down the top of your page. You should just know where this sugya is of Simna Milsa, because this is like an incredible, overwhelming sugya. Like I said, I'm going to do more justice to it over the weekend, but incredible. Hamafatim esakatora. So we'll say again, the Mishnah said one of the things in which you're chayiv karis for is one who goes ahead and makes ketoras. So mefatim es haketoras lil modba lilamidba olamos latzira patas. We already saw this yesterday. One who goes ahead and makes ketoras, either to go ahead and learn the trade, right, or to give it over to the tzibor is pater. Lahariach ba, but to smell it chayiv. So if you create ketoras in order to create the aromatic, the aroma for yourself, you're chayiv. V'hameriach ba pater. But I will say, if somebody, let's say I come to the Beis HaMikdash and they're burning the ketoras, and I go out of my way to smell it, I'm pater. Now, this is actually very important. I'm pater ultimately, there's no kares. There might be me'ilah. We're going to see this in just a moment. So the Gemara says, Ela shemal. So in other words, I'm not. So if I go to the Beis HaMikdash and I purposely get smell benefit from the ketoras, ketoras smells beautiful, I'm pater from kares, but I am chai from me'ilah because I've just inappropriately used Beis HaMikdash property. Umi'ika me'ilah bareach. So we'll say this is fascinating. Is there a concept of me'ilah with scent, with smell? As I say, smell, right? Scent is an intangible. So is there a concept of me'ilah by smell? Right? When it comes to sound, sight, and scent, there is no me'ilah. Reach achar shetalat muraso in ba mishum me'ilah. Sharein lecha davar shenasa mitzvaso mo'olin bo. So the Gemara says, you're right. It depends. After the mitzvah, in other words, what's the mitzvah of ketoras? The mitzvah of ketoras is to make it, burn it, and then what? Let the smoke go up in a straight column. After the smoke goes up and the mitzvah has been done, there is no longer any me'ilah with the ketoras. But if you come to the Beis HaMikdash after the pillar goes up and you smell it, you're good to go. But halacha l'maaseh, if at the end of the day you smelled it before the pillar went up, before the mitzvah was discharged, that's when there would be me'ilah. So the Gemara is suggesting over here two things are both saying. Number one, that there is me'ilah with scent. There is me'ilah with scent. When the Brisa said there's no me'ilah with scent, what was that talking about? After the mitzvah was done with the ketoras, it's no longer subject to me'ilah. And the Gemara uses this concept to build a bigger principle, which is we all know that once you perform a mitzvah with a particular item and it's done, it is no longer subject to the laws of me'ilah. To which the Gemara says, really? Alamalo, v'hari trumas hadeshen denasis mitzvah. So look at trumas hadeshen. Remember, trumas hadeshen is the leftover ash. What's the halacha? Kohen shows up in the morning. What does he do? He removes some of the ash. Not all of the ash, some of the ash. Right? And yet what? Mo'al and bo. Even after the Kohen removes some of the ash, the remaining ash is still subject to me'ilah. And even that ash afterwards that's been removed is subject to me'ilah. To which the Gemara says, I'll tell you, me'ilah is different. Mishum dahavi chumas hadeshen u'big dei kahuna shnei ksuvim abayin ke'achad. Because we'll say chumas hadeshen and big day kahuna. We'll discuss again what big day kahuna is in just a moment. That's actually, we're going to see, referring to the clothing of the Kohanim from Yom Kippur. Our two psukim, so we'll say it could be that Trumas Hadeshen and Big Day Kuna are exceptions. Both of those happen to be situations that what? Where even after the mitzvah is performed, they are still subject to me'ilah. But they do not create a principle. They are the exceptions and not the rule. So I'll say ultimately again, that's fine according to the Rabbanon, but according to Rabbi Dosa, what is there to say? After all, the Sanyo, Vihinicham Sham, we'll say this is talking about again the begadim of the Kohen Gadol. After Yom Kippur, he takes off the clothing, Vihinicham Sham, he leaves them there. Melamid, Shetun and Geniza. But you see that after the Kohen Gadol uses his clothing on Yom Kippur, what do you do with them afterwards? Shemus. Rabbi Dosa Omer Ksherin Hein LeKohen Hedyot. Rabbi Dosa says they can be used afterwards by a regular Kohen. So why does the pasuk say you shall leave them there? Ultimately, again, because to teach us that what Rabbi say, once they were used for a Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol cannot use them again for his subsequent Yom Kippur. But according to Rabbi Dosa, they can be used by a Kohen Hedyot. To which the Gemara says, so according to Rabbi Dosa, he will say, Mishub David Shuma Sadeshan ve'egla arufa shnei ksuven abayin ke'achad. So also Rabbi Dosa will say, because again, Truma, Sadesh, and Egla Arufa are both halachas that tell us that even after the mitzvah has been performed, the object is still subject to Me'ilah. But because this is stated in two instances, these two instances become the exception and not the rule. The rule is still that once an item has been used for its purpose, then what? It is no longer subject to Me'ilah. Pichumas Adeshin and Egla Ruf will be the exception to that rule. This Sanya, this Samo Eitzam is Vechmalam Shetun in Geniza. Because what's it ultimately again? Because what's the pasuk says? You shall leave it by the mizbeach. Teaches me that it requires Geniza. Egla Rufa. What's the case of Egla Rufa? Maihi. The Sanya va'arfo shamasa Egla benachal. Pasuk says you shall decapitate the Egla there in the Nachal. Melamed Shetun in Geniza. So we'll say the lashon of Sham. The lashon of Sham, the Gemara is darshaning to mean that what? That Allah Chalamaysa, even after you decapitate the calf, it must remain there, i.e. it is subject to non-use. You cannot use it, it is subject to Me'ilah. And according to the opinion who says that two psukim ultimately again that espouse the same concept cannot be used to teach a source concept. We've seen that many times before. So the Gemara says, "Hacha vade in malamdin mishum dahavi tremi ute." Both say it's even compounded over here. Why? Because by both of these instances, the Torah uses the lashon of a miut. How so? B'tshumas hadeshin ksev v'samo hadin in midiachrinilo. By Tshumas hadeshin it says you shall leave it here, which indicates this shall be left here. But this halacha doesn't apply to anything else. Kabe egla arufa ksev, second white line, ha'arufa in midi achrin alo. So ha'arufa teaches me that what? That halacha l'maisa, the arufa in, it is dafka, the decapitated calf that must be left here, i.e. must be buried. It's subject to Me'ilah, but not anything else. We'll say so good. So therefore, the Gemara tells me over here is it seems to be that the concept that the Gemara advanced still remains intact, which is normally once an item has been used for its particular sacrificial or mitzvah purpose, it is no longer subject to Me'ilah. There are definitely exceptions to that rule. Egla Arufa is an exception to that rule. Trumas Hadeshin is an exception to that rule. The clothing of the Kohen Gadol may be an exception to that rule. That seems to be a machlokes between Rabbi Dosa and the Rabbanon. Furthermore, when it comes to Ketores, is the smelling of Ketores, is that subject to Me'ilah? And the answer is, it depends. Prior to the performance of the mitzvah or fulfillment of the mitzvah, yes. After the fulfillment of the mitzvah, it appears that the answer is no. Tana Rabbanan. So here we go. Beautiful Gemara. Pitumak Ketores. Right? Pitumak Ketores. We'll say again, says the Gemara, here is how you make the Ketores. And we're going to go through all the spices. Hatsari, Vatzi, Porin, Vachelbana, Vahalavona, Mishkal, Shivim Shal Shivim Mana. We'll say all of these aforementioned spices. You bring 70 mana of these spices. Remember again, it was as we're going to see, they would mass produce the Ketores. Even though you don't have to, technically speaking, the Kohen Gadol could go ahead and make his Ketores every day prior to the Ketores offering, but that's not what they did. They mass produced the Ketores. Mor uktzia shibolesner v'karkum mishkal shisha asar shal shisha asar mana. But say, so the mor uktzia shibolesner karkum, these were 16 mana. Hakshot Hakosh name Asar, Vikilufa, Shlosha, Vikinmon Tisha. So we'll say again, we're not going to go through all the spices. Kshot is 12 mana, Kilufa is 13 mana, Kinmon was 9 mana, Boris Karshina Tisha Kabin, 9 kabin of this Borin Karshisha, Yayin Kafrisin, Si'in Tulasa. Yain Kafrisin, Si'in Tulasa Kabin, Tulasa. So we'll say Yain Kafrisin, wine, ultimately again 3 kabin. Im Ein Lo Yain Kafrisin, if you don't have this type of Yain Kafrisin, maybe Chamar Chivarian Atik. So apparently again, Yain Kafrisin was a type of wine. If you don't have Yain Kafrisin, you could just use aged white wine. Melach Stomis Rova. So sodomite salt ultimately again was a quarter of a kav. Ma'ala Ashan, we'll say Ma'ala Ashan is the name of a spice, right? That apparently is the spice that caused the smoke to ascend in a straight pillar. Kol shehu. All you need is a little bit of it. Rabbi Nassan Omer Af Kipas Hayardin Kol shehu. So apparently another spice, Kipas Rabbi Shmuel said as much as any amount is fine. So the Gemara goes weiter. If you put honey into the ketores, ultimately again it passes the honey. If you omit any of the spices, you are chayiv misa. Rabbi Shimon Omer Hatzari eino elasraf hanotev mi'atzi aktaf. Rabbi Shimon says that ultimately again that tsari is the sap that comes out from kitaf trees. Boris karshina sheshafin boas hatziporen. You add in this spice boris karshina, which I will say was there in order to whiten the tziporen spice. Kadesha tehe noah. Yain kafrisin sheshoren boas hatziporen kadesha tehe aza. So what did you do with the kafrisin wine? You would soak the tziporen in there in order that it should have a strong aroma. V'halo me raglayin yafinla. But apparently urine could be used for the same thing. That apparently, again, if you were to go ahead and soak the tziporen in the urine, it would also bring out a strong smell. But say there's a reason urine could work. The reason they did not use urine is because you can't bring urine into the Beis HaMikdash. To which the Gemara says, Rabbi Yossi. So this seems to support the position of Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Chanina. Damar, Kodeshi. The pasuk says it is Kodesh, speaking about the Ketores. Kodesh tialachem, kol ma'aseh lo yu ela b'kodesh. We'll say that what? Where was the Ketores made? The Ketores itself was made in the Beis HaMikdash. This is actually quite interesting. So apparently, we'll say, one would have thought, where do you have to make the Ketores? Anywhere. I mean, it doesn't really matter where it's made. Obviously, it has to be made in a state of Tara, but lav dafka that it has to be made in the Beis HaMikdash. So the Gemara says over here, the drush over here of Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina is Kodeshi, Kodesh tialochem. It is Kodesh, meaning every step of it must be Kodesh. And from here you see that it has to be made in the Beis HaMikdash. But say to bolster that is why we can't include urine in the ingredient legend. Ultimately, why? Because you can't bring urine into the Beis HaMikdash. Meisveis, where is the kasha? Hamakdish nechasa v'hayu ben dram haruyin l'karbanos hatzibor. Very interesting sugya. If I'm makdish my property, and in my property are things that are fit for communal offerings. Yinasnu le'umnun bischaran. So those are given to the workers of the Beis HaMikdash for their wages. Hani dvarim ha'ma'urin ma'ninu. What are we talking about? When you say things that are fit for communal sacrifice or communal offerings, what are we referring to? If you want to say that I have animals in my estate that I was just makdish, tanile. We already spoke about what to do with animals that are in an estate where someone is makdish the estate. Iyenos shmanim salsos. If you're telling me that it's referring to wine, to oil, or to fine flowers, tanile. Ultimately, again, we've spoken about that as well. Elalav ketores. Rather, it must be that what? That I'm makdish my estate, and in my estate, what do I have? Ketores. So what do we do with that ketores? Amar Boshia. Ba'osa hanitenes lo'omnim bischaran. So also we're talking about the type of ketores that is given to the workers as their wages. These are Beis HaMikdash workers. Both say this is incredible. Desanya. Moser ketores mahayu osinba. Both say, what would we do with the leftover ketores? Remember again, as we just said before, as much as you don't have to, bepashtos they mass produce the ketores. Now the year is coming to an end. I have leftover ketores. What do I do with it? Now we'll say, the reason this is a problem is because ketores are purchased with the half shkalim. Therefore, the ketores of that year come from that year's shkalim. Any leftover ketores can't be used in the following year because the following year's ketores has to come from what? From the new shkalim. So what do you do with leftover ketores? So watch this. Mayu also when hayu mafrishim menu schara umnin umechalelin also al maos haumnin v'nostin also umnin bischas. We'll say this is so incredible. So what they do? Basically, they should have to pay their workers. They would pay their workers money. Then they would say to the workers, would you like to go ahead and redeem your money for some ketores? Right, great deal. They would say, sure. The workers would go ahead and redeem the ketores with their money. The Beis Hamikdash would then do what? So now the ketores is effectively deconsecrated. The Beis Hamikdash would then go and buy back the ketores with the new shkalim. That's ultimately, again, how you dealt with leftover ketores. Maskel Yosef, Habakulim Osaros Tani, Chozrin Velochin also Mitruma Chadasha, Vahachalo Tani. So by all of the other leftover items, it says they would go back and repurchase it from the new shkalim, but here it doesn't say that. Ela Amrav Yosef, Be'echar Misamani Ektoris. The case of the Braisa, where I was makdish my estate and I have some ketores, doesn't literally mean I have ketores in my possession. Rather, what does it mean? It means that I have one of the ingredients of the ketores. Good. Tan Rabbanon, ketores haisa nasis shin samin ches mana. So we'll say, remember again, the ketores was made. There are 368 portions of ketores that were made. Shin samin chay kenegin mosachama, 365 corresponding to the days of the year. Shloshes meaning Yisir Shem Machnis Kohen Gadol Melo Chafnav B'Yom Kippurim. And Rabbi says, why the extra three? Why the extra three? The extra three were for the avoda of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. Right? You needed 3 extra handfuls of ketores for the avoda of the Kohen Gadol. So interestingly enough, what kind of ended up happening is they technically made enough. In other words, they made 368 portions. But as we saw already in yesterday's daf, the truth is they didn't measure exactly. They always added an extra. So inevitably, you had extra ketores. Also, remember again, I'll say, a lot of times ketores is based on what? Is based on the size of the Kohen's hand. So, depending on the Kohen, small-handed Kohen, large-handed Kohen, the point is they had leftover ketores. The rest of the ketores was given to the craftsmen as their wages. Kidisanya, as we just said before. Mosak ketores mahayu osinba. What did they do with the leftover ketores? Mafishin mimena schar ha'umnin. They went ahead and they separated out the wages of the workers. Umechalelin osa al ma'os ha'umnin. And ultimately, again, they went ahead and redeemed it for the money of the umnin. V'nosin osa la'umnin bischaran. V'chozin v'lochin osa mitrumas halishka. So as we just said before, they would pay the umnin, have the umnin redeem the ketores with their wages, deconsecrate the ketores, and then go ahead and repurchase it back from the new shkalim. Good. We'll say, don't worry about it. Plenty of time. You don't have to worry. Tana Rabbanon. Here we go. I see people look at their watch and turn the page. Tana Rabbanon. Don't worry. Tana Rabbanon. Mosar ketaros achas l'shishim o l'shivim shana hayu mefatmin osa l'chatzoin. Let's listen to this. Now, what ended up happening, by the way, is the leftover ketores ended up accumulating to the point that the Gemara says actually quite interesting. Once every 60 or 70 years, they didn't have to compound a whole batch of ketores. They would be okay just with compounding a new half batch of ketores. Lefichach, they will say, therefore, in a year like that, Yachid shepitim lechatzon chayiv, dear Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon says that if you had an individual who compounded his own half batch of ketores, he would be chayiv. Even though, again, in a normal year, you'll be chayiv if you make the full amount of ketores. In that year, you'll be chayiv if you're making a half batch. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Shimon, dear Rabbi Shimon, that if you only made a third or a quarter of this year, that I didn't hear that he would be chayiv. Chacham the Chum say no. Chacham say that in fact they did not mass produce ketores. Instead, what did they do? Every day they produced for what they needed. They produced for what they needed. Therefore, what? Therefore, what to say? Therefore, halacha l'maisa, if that was true, even an individual who produced a relatively small amount of ketores, halacha l'maisa would be chayiv. See the Rava Damar Rava, shemen hamishcha shepatmu lechatzon chayiv. Rava says if you take shemen hamishcha and you compounded only a part of it, or lechatzon, meaning a half share, you're chayiv. D'chsiv v'ketores asher te'asa kol she te'asa. Any amount of ketores that you make, you are chayiv for making it. Why? Both saying because by ketores, remember again, if the Kohen wanted to make the little bit of ketores necessary for the morning offering, he could do it in the morning, in the afternoon. So therefore, again, assuming that the Kohen can make the ketores as needed, if you compound smaller amounts of ketores, halacha l'maisa, you are chayiv for that. Both is incredible. They would regrind the ketores twice a year. Why? So during the summertime, they would leave the ketores scattered in order that it should not rot, I guess because of the heat and the humidity. In the wintertime, they would keep the ketores together in order that the scent should not dissipate. When you regrind the ketores, listen to this, Omer hadek hativ hadek. I will say you should speak when you grind the ketores. And you should say, hadek hativ, grind well, right? Well ground. Divrei Abba Yossi ben Yochanan. V'shalosh minin yiserin shemehen v'shalosh manin yiserin shemen kohen gadol machnes v'lo chafna b'yom kippurim nosin osin l'machtashas be'erev yom kippurim v'shoch kan yafe kedei shetehei daka min adaka. And I will say the three portions of the kohen gadol's ketores for Yom Kippur, they would dafka regrind that on Erev Yom Kippur in order that it should be very fine. Kidisanya daka, the pasuk by the ketores by Kohen Gadol says daka, it should be fine. Matam lomar falo kvar ne'emar v'shechachtem ena hadek. Matam lomar daka. Why does the Torah say another daka by Yom Kippur? Kedei daka min daka. That by Yom Kippur will say it shouldn't just be fine, but what? It should be the finest of the fine. So they would regrind it in Erev Yom Kippur. Omar kishu shochek omer heitiv hadek. Hadek Hativ, when they would regrind the ketores, they would say these words: Hativ Hadek, well ground, grind well. Rabbi Yochanan, and this is incredible. Apparently, speech is bad for wine. Speech is bad for wine. I've often understood this to mean too much speech is not good when you're drinking wine, right? That's not what it means over here. What it actually means over here is apparently the act of speaking when you're actually pouring wine or making wine is actually detrimental. It could be that Chazal felt maybe it's just like the heat of one's breath, right? That extra is not good, okay? But it is good. Apparently, again, speech. So when you grind, speak to your spices, right? Speak to when you grind your spices. So apparently, again, it brings out even a greater aroma when you speak to. Rabbi Yochanan, Yud Aleph Samanim Ne'emru LaMoshe B'Sinai. There were 11 spices for the ketores that were said to Moshe Rabbeinu by Har Sinai. I don't know Huna Mikra. What's the possible way to learn this? How do we get to 11? Here we go. Mikra. Kach lecha samim. Hashem says to Moshe, take samim. Trey, that's 2. Nataf ushcheles v'chalbana, 3 more. Hachamisha, that's 5. The samim achrini, another samim chamisha, that's another 5. Now we'll say, now again, how we make that jump, that samim means 5, when the first samim means 2, we'll discuss. Ha'asara, ulevona zaka chad, and the levona zaka is 1. Ha'chad sri, so you see from here, 11 spices in the ketores. Ve'emos samim klal natav v'shcheles v'chalbin prat. Samim chazar klal. Maybe it's a klalu pratu klal. Samim is a klal. Natav shcheles and chalbina, that's a prat, a specific items. And samim again is a klal. Klalu pratu klal. Klal, so the Gemara says, chazar klal. Klalu pratu klal. Iya tadan elakina prat. Because whenever you have a klalu pratu klal, the klal is defined by the prat. Ma prat mufurash, we'll say first wide line. Ma prat mufurash, davar shekoter va'ole berechon. No, Dave, just like the prat, we'll say something that ultimately, again, koter va'ole, we'll say means it causes smoke, and the smoke ascends. Verecho, no, Dave, and its scent wafts Av kol davar shekoter va'ola v'reicho nodev. So in order to be part of the Kerisus family, you must satisfy this criteria. It must generate smoke, the smoke must ascend, and it must have a strong scent. V'chitema im kein lichtov kra chad prata. If that's the case, then why does the pasuk have to say in the prat 3 items? Let it just say one of the spices, and I would have said again with one of them, then that's a klal upratu klal. Why do you have 3 items mentioned in the middle? Loi mitzrach tzrichi. You need all of them. I'll tell you why. Because of nataf, it would have just said nataf hava mina min ilon. I would have said that it only applies in Kerisus, made from things that grow on a tree. Aval gidule karkalo, but things that grow from the ground are not including Kerisus. Therefore, mishum hachi kasav ushcheles. Therefore, also the pasuk shcheles, which grows from the ground. V'kasav ushcheles have min gidule karka in aval min ilon imolo. And therefore, it just said shcheles. I would have thought only items that grow from the ground are Kerisus. Things that grow from the tree can't be used for Kerisus. Mishum hachi ksiv kasav nataf. Therefore, we'll say the pasuk says nataf, which grows from the tree. The chelbina. What about chelbina? What is that doing there? Legufei asa mishum shareach ra. Chelbina, we'll say, is there because chelbina by itself actually does not smell good. So I'm going to thought, therefore, chelbina should not be included at all. Therefore, chelbina requires a statement. So we'll say, so therefore, again, you need nataf, shcheles, and chelbina together in the prat there. Why? Because that teaches me that Kerisus comes from items that grow from trees, ground, and even if they have a bad odor by themselves, are still included. So the Gemara says, Imkain. So mikach lecha nafkale. So ultimately, again, therefore, you can learn that from kach lecha. Ve'ima samim basrai traininu kisam kadmos. Well, so remember again in the tabulation or the calculation of the 11 spices, you said the first samim is 2, the second samim represents 5. Why don't you say the second samim represents 2, just like the first one? To which the Gemara says, "Amos samim basrai train ninu kisamim kedat kadmoi." Say the second samim is 2, just like the first one. Imke nichtov samim bahade hadadi. Let it write samim together. The fact that the samim are separated indicates that what? That Allah Chamaisa refers to different amounts. The Gemara says, bahade hadadi. Sof nichtov nataf ushcheles v'chalbana. Write samim together, and then write the other spices next to each other. If samim were together, I would have said they're both the same. The fact that they're separated by the other spices indicates to us that what? They represent different numbers. The Rabbi Shmuel Tani, samim klal, nataf shcheles v'chalbana prat, samim chazar v'kala. So we'll say, so Tishur Rabbi Shmuel, they have the same drush like we said before. Samim is a klal, nataf shcheles v'chalbana is the prat, samim is another klal, klal urpatu klal, iyat hadan elakeina prat. Mahaprat mufurash davar shekoter va'ola v'reichel nodev. Just like we're stating what we said before. Just like the prat is an item that causes smoke, the smoke ascends and it has a strong scent. Av kol davar shekoter va'ola v'reichel nodev. O eino ella klal. O eino ella klal bichlal rishon uprat beprat rishon. Or maybe not. Maybe at the end of the day, ultimately, again, the klal is just coming to compare itself to that which was stated earlier in the pasuk. Rashi says over here, klal ki klal rishon, kul mafarshchem. We're going to see all this, what this means in just a bit. Amrit lav, ha'ein lecha alecha ladun b'lashon achron, ella b'lashon rishon. There is no reason to go ahead and look to the latter part of the pasuk to define the klal upratu klal. Rather, look in the earlier lashonos. Amar mar, o eino ella klal b'chlal rishon uprat b'prat rishon. So maybe we're referring ultimately again about say to that which was stated earlier. Amrit lav ha ein alecha ladun. My kasha hachi kasha. We'll say what's the problem over here? Samim basrai trey ki samim kadmoi train. So we'll say why do we say that the second samim in the pasuk represents 2, just like the first samim in the pasuk represented 2? To which the Gemara says, Hadir v'shani kidishaninan. We'll say that's why we go back and we answer like we answered before. The imkain nikra nichtov kras samim natav shcheles v'chalbana. If that's the case, that the 2 samim in the pasuk represented the same number of spices, then the 2 samim should have been mentioned next to each other. The fact that it's samim, spices, and then samim again indicates to us that the samim themselves represent different number of spices. Umay prat biprat rishon. What's the first part that we're referring to? Hachi kashale mine ilanos yalfi min nataf. First, we learn the fact that things that grow from a tree can be used from Kerisus. We learn from nataf. Right, and ultimately again that which grows from the ground that it can be used, we learn from shcheles. V'leofi nami me'levona zaka. Why don't they learn it out ultimately from levona zaka as well? Da'isi bechad tzad. Denesi davar sherecho nodef va'afa pi she'in koter va'ola. Because they're both say ultimately again levona zaka is something that has a strong scent, even though what? It does not create smoke, and the smoke doesn't ascend. Amar imke nichtov prala levona zaka v'mitzi v'telif mine. Then levona zaka, if levona zaka were to be the paradigmatic example, that even if something has a good smell but doesn't generate smoke, then let it be written in the middle and learn everything from that. Ikasve levona zaka b'mitzi. If levona zaka had been written in the middle, have you trey asar. Then ultimately, again, we would have reckoned that as a list of 12 spices. Imke nichtov kra levona zaka mitzi v'chelben ala basof reish lakish ar migufa malashon kitores davar shekol tevaola. Therefore, Reish Lakish says, you're right. Instead, he was saying we were always trying to learn out the principles of kitores ultimately from what? From the placement of the words. Now, the truth is, Reish Lakish is saying, or as well say, what we were saying is, if you dash the psukim as a klalu pratu klal, the common denominator amongst all of the spices are that what? They have a strong scent, they generate smoke, and the smoke ascends. The Gemara is pointing out that that's not necessarily true with all of the. There are certain spices which may not be like that. Therefore, Reish Lakish says the truth is it's inherent in the lashon of kitores itself. The lashon of kitores means davar shekoter va'ola. In order to be included in the kitores family, it must be something that what? That creates smoke and the smoke ascends. Lav dafka, by the way, that the smoke ascends in a straight pillar on its own. Remember again about saying that was the result of what? Of the ma'ale ashan, that was the result, but nevertheless, it must generate a smoke on its own. Amar Rav Chana bar Bizna, Amar Shimon Chasida. We learn a very important halacha here, which is Kol Tainis She'in Ba Miposhe Yisrael. We'll say any time that there is a public fast day, right? Public fast day for some type of tzara for Klal Yisrael, you must count sinners in the assembly. If you have a minyan without sinners, it is not a proper minyan. Where do we know this from? Shari chelbina rechara. Chelbina has a very bad odor. Umana hakasav im samane akitoras. Yet I will say what? You can't have kitores without chelbina. So we'll say, so an incredible musra, we'll say. There is no such thing as a congregation of tzaddikim. Any congregation of tzaddikim is not a congregation you want to be a part of. Good news, no one's in danger of this, right? No congregation in danger, right? And it's not a congregation you want to be a part of. To be part of Klal Yisrael means being together with the tzaddikim and being together with Shabbat. It's an incredibly important idea because sometimes we think that our goal is only to cocoon ourselves and bubble ourselves with people like us. It's not true. Part of being a member of Am Yisrael is being with people who are not like you, right? And ultimately, again, hopefully having the right kind of hashba on all different kinds of people. This is what it means to be part of a community. What it means to be part of a tzibur, it means to be part of Ketores. The Gemara says, V'haraya, again, if Ketores was if it's all about purity and everybody being perfect, there would never be a chelbana. But yet, if you have Ketores without chelbana, ultimately, again, the Ketores is pasa. So we'll stop over here. We'll pick up in Meretz Hashem at the 2 dots tomorrow. I'm sorry. You see, and any time you have a mixture, you always find it. Very true.